One of you guys said something that's really interesting to me. What about front squats for high reps? Basically, spend the whole day today thinking about that. Today is day 2 of me feeling DOMS in my upper back. So I've got DOMS in my rear delts, middle traps, bit of in the lat. So I'm sore. Yesterday was quite sore. Today, basically the same, although some areas are subsiding. The rear delts, though, are just extremely sore. I don't know why the rear delts have really copped it. I did some chin-ups, I did some rows, nothing crazy, just for high reps. Just to really feel what these exercises are doing for me. Obviously, there's, variation how you do it and technique and, grip on the bar, where you're sending the bar to your chest in terms of the row and all that stuff. There's a lot of variation between, when it comes to rowing and pull-upping. There's so many different takes on it. I did it a certain way, and this is the effect that I have on my body. But it got me thinking. All day today I'm thinking about this. So when you look at the anatomy of the upper back, if you look at the anatomy of a human being, we have these nice little names for certain muscle groups. The rear delts, we got the traps, and then people go, okay, we got the lower traps, middle traps, upper traps. But really what's happening here is we have a whole bunch of muscle fibers that we like to group together because they have kind of like similar actions on the body. But really, you could have, say, glute max, have different things to do depending on what fibers of the glute max we're talking about. The lower portion does slightly different thing than the upper portion and so on and so on. Although the whole muscle is named the glute max, yet it does different things. So this is where I start thinking about carryover. Okay, I'm doing these rows, I'm doing these pull-ups, I'm hitting my upper back. But are these fibers which are primary movers of these movements, of these exercises, are they going to translate for me deadlifting? So you could add a lat, right? You can add some girth to the lat and mass to the lat. But which fibers are actually growing? Do you know what I mean? Like there needs to be some sort of specificity carryover. This carryover is a big thing when it comes to performance. When you are talking about bodybuilding, building symmetry, building size, trying to tweak the body to give the illusion of a certain type of physique that you want to have, bring some muscles up, balance, all that stuff. These are the bodybuilding terms that people that are bodybuilding concern themselves with. Sculpting a body, a physique. For me, I couldn't care less about that. Of course, I want to look good and that's all that, but my number one priority is to move that barbell well, better and better. I'm doing these exercises, rows and pull-ups and all this stuff to get stronger at the deadlift, right? And the squat. That's what I want to do. So I'm sore in these rear delt and I'm thinking about it all day today. Is the rear delt going to help me with this? Of course, mass is mass. Just keep on slapping mass. Carpet bomb the whole place. But then there's an issue of recovery. Let's say I've spent 10 points of recovery last 2 days. Have I gained anything towards my goal? Could there be a better spend, a better idea, a better plan to do exercises which are actually going to carry over to what I want to do? Once again, I am not into bodybuilding. Yeah, okay, it feels good to have a pumped up rear delt. It's kind of nice or whatever, but I don't care about that, man. I just don't care. The reason why that comment got me thinking about why don't you just do front squats for high reps got me thinking it's because that, I started off a few days ago saying that what had affected my poor deadlift in the last 54, 55 days is the fact I removed front squats from the mix. That's the only common denominator that I feel that has happened in the last 54 days, 55 days. That's the only thing that's left my program that I feel is significant enough to do this. And so then I've taken that front squat idea and I'm like, what is the front squat doing for me? I think it's doing a lot more upper back than legs. I think back squat is doing a lot more legs than front squat because of the load, because of the volume, because of all that stuff that I did. Front squats, for me, the limitation is upper back. So I went, okay, what exercises trains the upper back? Rows, pull-ups. Let's go. But what part of that row, what part of that pull-up is actually going to help me with thoracic extension? What's better at a thoracic extension? Front squats, rows, or pull-ups? I would argue that pull-ups have nothing to do with thoracic extension. You are freaking hanging, man. There is no force for you to thoracically extend. The pull-ups have nothing to do with that. What I'm thinking is, I want to solidify my upper back, but the number one factor that's involved in me deadlifting really well is to keep that thoracic spine extended. I don't want it to flex over and round. I keep telling you guys, I feel my shoulders are rounding over. So what I need to do is round them back up. Thoracic extension, stick your chest out. That's the force that I want to resist. I'm doing pull-ups. How the hell is that going to help me? Of course, it's adding upper back muscle. But these fibers involved in thoracic extension. These are the thoughts that I had the entire day. Rowing, okay, now we're getting a little bit warmer. Of course, rowing, yes, there is a component of thoracic extension. There is a weight. There's a force of the weight that's perpendicular, okay, to what my muscles. So I'm trying to extend, and these muscles are trying to round me over. And I'm trying to resist it. So that makes sense. And then you're basically rowing the bar to your chest. So you are asymmetrically holding that thoracic extension while pumping these lats. It's I've spent basically the whole day thinking about this very idea. You look at the anatomy of the human body and there's so many freaking fibers. And we're like, oh yeah, you need to work the traps. What the hell do you mean, man? The traps basically go from like your neck all the way down to your like almost ass. What do you mean traps, man? It's like saying it's like you tell me, man, yeah, you got to work on your human body, man. You got to work on your body, man. That's how you get strong in the deadlift. Oh, thanks, man. It's freaking great help. Thank you, man. Or, when you ask people, man, like I've got this weakness, what do you recommend I should do? Oh, I just got to work real hard, man. Just work harder. Thank you, man. I could have asked my grandma that. Could have asked her, Grandma, what do you reckon is the problem here? Just work harder, honey. That's all you got to do. So that's the thought right now. Why don't I just take the front squats for a set of 50? I don't know what weight I would have to use to get that, because that would be extremely difficult. I've had this experience many, many times before. I don't front squat for a whole bunch of time, let's say a month. I get back to it, I work up to a comfortable single, get back down maybe 20-30% of that, and do some reps, sets of 5, whatever. The following 2 days, 3 days, my upper traps are lit up. Lit up. And every single time I come on here and I tell you guys, the greatest traps exercise, at least the upper traps exercise, is the front squat. Really, what we need to think about is not so much what muscles are involved, but what is the motion involved? What is the movement involved? So it doesn't really matter what the muscles are involved. What is the human movement that you are trying to get better at? I want to get better at thoracic extension. Thoracic extension. That's what I'm thinking right now. Obviously, I've done some reading today, and literally 9 out of 10 dudes will tell you the number one deadlift accessory is the row. Row. That's the number one thing. I'm not trying to say the row has no effect on the deadlift. It probably does. But I'm just trying to quantify in my brain. I'm just trying to compare doing a front squat versus a row in terms of efficiency. The very next thought is just do both. Tomorrow when I go to the gym, tomorrow I should be ready to hit the upper back again. Just do both. Do both. Why not? Of course you can do that. Absolutely you can do that. But one of the things that I keep saying to you guys is that I want to know why. almost more than getting the results. I always come back to this idea, man. I struggle, man. I struggle with the idea of just doing everything, because I always think to myself, man, I've only got like freaking 10 recovery points, man. Instead of doing 5 and 5 in front squats and rowing, imagine if I put 10 into front squats, man. Why am I just doing something that I don't have a connection with intellectually? I gotta know, look, I have to know why I'm doing this, man. I'm not a masochist. I don't want to just sit here and freaking slice my wrists because I want to slice my wrists and I want to feel the pain. I don't want to do that, man. I'm trying to build here. I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to learn. So these are the things. Like, you know, the two videos ago, I'm like, rows. I'm going to do rows. And then I saw this comment. I think it was this morning or last night. I can't remember when I saw it. And I was like, I read it initially and I kind of replied. I can't remember what I replied, but I just kind of been stewing in my brain ever since then. And I'm like, man, why don't I do that, man? Why don't I do that? I love high rep squats. I love these 50 rep squats with 60 kilos. My God, imagine doing that with front squats. What the hell is that? Imagine that. Imagine trying to breathe with the thing on your collarbones. Wow. And imagine the freaking pump on the upper back. Because literally, the bar is trying to bend you over in the thoracic spine. And then everywhere else, right? It starts with that. So you have to, even standing there, man. The moment you unrack that baby, you have to keep your chest up. It has to be a contraction from get-go. Whereas with the back squat, you can, you know, it's like a trap. You trap the bar between your hands and your upper back. You can sit there. Of course, there is some tension through the rear delt and all that. There's some work, but it doesn't compare to the front squat. Literally, the front squat has to be a fully active, concentrated effort to keep the bar where it is. If you relax and just round your shoulders, the thing will drop in front of your feet. That's it. So I'm telling you all this, and I don't even know what I'm going to do tomorrow. I'm so undecided. I still like the idea of rowing. I like the idea of just hitting the upper back, hitting those lats, traps, everything. I don't know why the rear delts are so freaking angry with me. Maybe the way I did it, I don't know. But a part of me is like, I've been down this road before. I know exactly what's going on. Because when I had the deadlifts, like hitting 260 twice a week, man, that's what I was doing, man. That's what I was doing. And now I'm like, 50 days onwards, and I'm like, okay, let's do some rowing. What if rowing doesn't do it and I'm just wasting my time? Oh, my Lord. Why don't I just go back to what works and just overdose on that shit, man? Why don't I just overdose on front squats? Why don't I just do that? I don't know, man. It's so conflicting, so many different ideas. It's such an evolution. Some of you guys are like, man, Divine, you change your shit like daily, man. This is the thing, man. Like, I get the criticism of like changing my stuff all the time, but it's a constant evolution, man. I'm always learning. I wish I knew everything. And then you could, say, Ivan, I'm criticizing you because you're changing your shit. Man, I'm always learning shit. I'm always hearing what you guys have to say, comparing your notes with my notes, pulling pieces together, understanding, going back to the log. And I'm constantly evolving, constantly thinking. Some of you guys, you're overthinking. Some of you guys just say, you're overthinking. Well, I don't want to, I've said this before, man. I'm nowhere near this, man. But do you reckon Einstein overthought? I hate that, like this idea of overthinking. What the hell does that even mean? Do you want me to not think? Now, how do you come up with anything if you don't think? And if you are overthinking, that means you love this shit more than the regular guy. I get it. In sports, you overthink, you're frozen, you're not reacting, you're not using your instincts, you're slow. That's what overthinking does. You're not playing with your spirit. You're playing with your brain, and the brain's slow. It needs to be reflexes. I get that in basketball, soccer, and all of that. But I'm sitting here not doing anything right now, thinking about the plan of tomorrow. That's something. I'm the coach. I'm Jose Mourinho, man. I'm sitting there trying to work out how we're going to send these boys out to play. That's what I'm thinking about. There's never ending that, man. That's why every single coach is graying the hair and balding, man. And dying at 60 by the looks of it, man. Because everyone's just so stressed. Anyway. That's what's on my mind. I don't know what you guys have to say. Like, I would love to hear what do you think? Obviously, you can do both. But then again, the recovery points. You got 10 points, man. Would you rather spend, well, my question to you is, would you rather spend 10 of them in front squat, high volume, or would you spend 10 points in the rows, high volume? What do you think is going to carry over to the deadlift better? At least for my trouble is breaking the damn thing off the floor. I need thoracic stability, thoracic strength. That's what I need. Okay, maybe the rows offer something else. I'm pretty good about like knee, mid-shin up. I'm pretty good there. What I need is stability and strength in the upper back in the initial pull when I'm really bent over. I got short arms. So when I start pulling on that sucker with the freaking horizontal back, you know, there's a lot of leverage in my lower upper back. Like I'm in the worst possible position on the floor because I've got these short arms. And so I need upper back exercise. And I feel like the front squat does that. It just completely challenges the upper back to hold straight. Whereas rowing, I feel like targets another part of the upper back, which might not necessarily help me with that initial push of the floor. That's how it is, seems to me, like from here. But I don't know, man. Like literally I've spent the whole day thinking about that. Hopefully I've summarized my ideas where I'm kind of thinking about row versus front squat. But I have a template that works, man. I did a shit ton of front squatting back at 50 days ago, and I had really good success. The moment I started winning that shit back, the moment I started hitting more hamstrings and all that stuff, that I got inspired by Louis, which is fine because, you know, but that's not what I need right now, right? That's not what I need. I don't need lockout strength. I need off the floor strength. So I basically started doing stuff that was helping me in the lockout. My lockout got even better. I just can't break that sucker off. And then all of that stuff from the front squat started to decay. 50 days later, I have no front squat effects in me, and I'm struggling to break the floor. So why don't I just go back and smash that? That would be a really interesting experiment as well, to reintroduce it and see if it comes back up. And then it's like, all right, front squats is the key. But if I do something else, then I'm adding a third element. Is just, oh my Lord, draw the conclusion to that. How do you do that? I've got two fellas to mention tonight. Jack Ferriola, and I've got Caleb Flood. 2 names today. Man, what a blessing. 2 names. So Jack and Caleb, man, absolute legends. Appreciate you for that, for the support. It's a freaking blessing. As you guys saw, the whole video today is a response. It's a you know, it sent me down a line of thinking. I feed off of the community. I try and read as much comments and interact with you guys as much as I can. Why? Well, you see the result. I got something out of that. I learned something. It challenged me. It sparked me. And this is what I love about the community. You know, I say stuff to you guys. Hopefully you guys get sparked, you know, and maybe something, your puzzle gets a little closer to solving. And I think that's the beautiful thing about this community. So Jack and Caleb, really appreciate you fellas, and everyone else on the Patreon list, on YouTube comments, of course, and Instagram as well. When I have a chance, I go on there as well and see what's going on. I appreciate you guys. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Peace out.